practical side. The structure of a proposal. We always talk about proposals, say, write a proposal. What does it mean? What does a proposal look like? Simple question. And it's also a simple answer. Because the Commission gives you a lot of help and assistance. First, maybe, again, when we talk about proposal structure, a few words on the evaluation. This may be a bit of a repetition. This is a very simple flowchart of how the evaluation functions. Proposal submission is at the top, on the deadline. The Commission is very strict with deadlines, but nowadays the only thing you can do is miss the deadline. If you miss the deadline, you can't even submit. It's all electronic, and which is good, but the bad point is when it says submission is on 21st of December, 5 o'clock Brussels time, 1 second after 5, the submission system is closed, and you cannot submit anymore. So be careful of that. Eligibility is what the Commission checks. This is very simple. Let's say you propose a project with 2 partners. The Commission says, sorry, minimum is 3, out. We don't even look at what you've written, out. That's eligibility. Sometimes there are specific criteria. If you don't meet them, you're out. And then comes the evaluation by experts. Already mentioned that. Depending on what you do, there can be an ethical review, especially if you work in health, and some of the biofields, ethical review. Security scrutiny, if you work in security or propose something there, they want to know who the partners are. The experts do the evaluation that with the marks. Everything that is below 10 is out. Everything that's above 10 then gets a ranking. The Commission ranks them. And sometimes you have 2 proposals that have 15. Either the Commission says, okay, we fund both, or they say, we fund this one. We prefer that one. Have the same number, okay. That you have to leave to the Commission. If it's out, either eligibility or ranking or below threshold, you get a letter of rejection from the Commission saying, we're sorry, we thank you very much anyway, but try again next time. And those who are retained for funding, they go through nowadays very quick process of grant preparation. There are no negotiations anymore. In the past, you had negotiations where the Commission said, well, we like your proposal, but there is this part or maybe that part. Can you change that a bit? No. They can't deal with a high number. Say, we like it, you take it. Grant preparation, sign the contract. Done. So it's much faster. That's the process. Simple, straightforward. Evaluation, we already said, at least 3 experts who all do the individual evaluation report. Then you have a consensus meeting, and then the consensus report, which is the final report with the final marking and the comments. So, proposal. When you prepare a proposal for Horizon, you have to tell the Commission, of course, 2 things. Firstly, who you are. Who are you? You're a consortium of what? 10, 12 partners. Who are you? And what do you want to do? And this is the basic structure of a proposal. It contains 2 parts. Part A, and in this part, this is just the formal part, you provide all the administrative details that will be used in the evaluation, further processing of your proposal. It is all administration data from all the partners. I mean, it's just the only thing here that can be tedious to get all your partners to provide you with that information. Otherwise, this is not an intellectual challenge. So, and the part B contains the details of the work you intend to do, and it's called the technical annex. This is the real work. So, who you are and what you want to do. And the part B, the what you want to do, you download, it's recommended, download the template, You don't fill in the template, but you use this for your work of preparation. And there are different templates depending on the type of action: coordination, support, innovation, research. What you do in the end, you write your proposal as a Word document, but you follow the structure that is given by the Commission. These are the sections you write with the subheadings. And you do not change any of the subheadings. You do not add any. You can subheadings, but you're not changing these. You're not leaving them out. You have to go through all of them. Straightforward. You write it as a Word document, you save it as PDF, and upload it to the submission service. You have two other sections, which are, again, relatively simple. Members of the consortium, you have to describe who the participants are, any third parties involved. Are there ethical issues? Are there security issues? You describe them. This is the easy bit. I mentioned the evaluation criteria, excellent impact quality of the... Now, excellent, what does excellence mean? It's a very general term. And it is defined by the commissioners to the excellence to the extent that the proposed work corresponds to the topic description in the work program, clarity and pertinence of the objectives. If your objectives are not clear, you've lost. Soundness of the concept, credibility of the proposed methodology. You have to say, this is a problem we observe in this field. This is how we're going to address it. This is the objective in solving this problem. And now we do it by the following. Now, in order to do that, we have a certain concept, a methodology. You have to describe it. Is that a credible one? I mean, with a bit of fantasy, you can write any type of methodology, but it's not credible. It has to be credible. Extent that proposed work is beyond the state of the art. If you do something that's already there, the Commission says, why should we fund this? Why should we spend taxpayers' money on working on something where we more or less have a solution already? So, beyond the state of the art. Demonstrates innovation potential, groundbreaking objectives, novel concepts, approaches, new products, services, business, organization models, whatsoever. But it has to be something new. Groundbreaking is a good word, because you have to think for yourself, is this really groundbreaking what we are doing here? And if you're not sure it is, maybe you better not write it. Appropriate consideration of interdisciplinary approaches and, where relevant, use of stakeholder knowledge. In particular, in the societal challenges, there are lots of stakeholders depending on what topic you work with. Tie them into your project, into your consortium. You have to make use of their knowledge. Because you are either from university, so your research, you're from private industry, technology provider, but who is representing the application area, especially in societal challenges? The stakeholders. If you do something in healthcare, make sure you have at least 2 or 3 hospitals or healthcare centers as a partner. Those are the ones that provide you the knowledge. Those are the ones in the end that make in the project the test of what you develop, and after the project, use your results. So this is important. If all that is there, then it's excellent. Impact. I mentioned this before. Expected impact listed in the work program under the relevant topic. There are always expected impact. Respond to each and every impact. Don't leave any out, even if it's difficult. Any substantial impacts not mentioned in the work package that would enhance innovation capacity. I mean, maybe you said, these are nice impacts. We have a much better impact that we can see. It's not listed there. Add it to it. Say, there's a much greater impact. We believe, okay. Create new market opportunities, strengthen competitiveness, growth of companies. All these issues that add to an innovative impact of your work. Important benefits to the society. Oh, the Commission loves this. Quality of the proposed measures to exploit and disseminate project results. What do you do at the end of the project? Say, fine, final report done? No. How do you exploit it? Where's your market? How do you deal with intellectual property right? If you have 12 partners, do they all have the same intellectual property right? If yes, why? If not, why not? Explain this, address it. Manage data research where relevant. Commission is very keen now on this open data scheme. Communicate the project activities to different target audiences. You have to do a lot of dissemination, workshops, conferences, whatever. The public in general should know about it. Never forget, it's Commission money, it's taxpayers' money. The Commission is keen on you telling everybody what you're doing, so that everybody says, oh, this is money well spent. It's an important aspect. If you leave that out, you get half a point less. Implementation. How good are you in implementing it? What's the quality and effectiveness of your work plan? Resources. You have to say, okay, I'll do, let's say, in my example, there's this hardware manufacturer who's doing the device development of my little device. For how much? How much manpower? In these proposals you talk with person month. Does it involve? The money comes later on. The money is not that relevant. It's okay, he needs 5 person months to develop that. Evaluator will say, no, come on. You don't develop this in 5 person months. I mean, one developer needs more than half a year. You probably need 3 developers working for it for 6, 7 months. So that is effectiveness of resources. Or you say, no, I developed this, I need at least 5 developers working for 2 years on this. Evaluators will say, no way. This is over-exaggerated. You'll never use this. So it has to be appropriate. Appropriateness of the management structure. You manage. You have to manage a consortium of, or somebody has, of 12 partners, 15 partners. How do you do this? What are the procedures? How can you make sure you get these 12 very different organizations across Europe working together for 3 years? It's not simple. Risk management. What are the risks involved? Innovation management. How do you manage the innovation? Complementarity of participants is very important. You have 12 partners. You have to explain, why do you have these partners? What are their skills? How can they contribute to the objectives of your work? Are the skills all there? All skills you need? Remember my little table. Do you have all of them? Or do you end up with having suddenly 3 partners in secure software development? We should say, why 3? 1 is enough. So again, it has to be balanced. So the skills must be there. You need an overall consortium that brings the expertise you need for your work. Appropriateness of allocation of task. As I said, all partnerships have a valid role and adequate resources in the project to fulfill that role. Now, the last sentence means the partners must have the resources. Sometimes you have, let's say, a small SME, 10 people, but very good ones. They have bright ideas, they have the right technology, and say, okay, we get them in for 3 years, and we allocate, let's say, 50 person month, because it's very important. Then the evaluators may say, it's a bit exaggerated, but looking at the size of the company, they don't have 50 person months available. Sorry, they don't have the resources. Even if this amount was adequate for doing the work, but that partner, and we look at the size of the partner, it's impossible for the partner to do it. It doesn't have the resources. This can happen. So whenever you allocate resources, think about the partner. Or you have a university, very good professor, and he has 1 research assistant. How much effort do you allocate to the 2? Not much. They have other things to do. The professor has to go teaching. He won't spend much time on the project. The research assistant probably maybe is working on his PhD. How much time does he have? Half his time, maybe, not more. So if you allocate them lots of effort, it will not work. Either the Commission detects it, then you're lucky, or if you're not lucky, you win the project, and after half a year you find out they're not doing their work. And they say, well, we cannot. We're only two. So it's your fault. Think about this. It's very important. It's a trap you can easily fall into. And I say, luckily, the evaluators detect it, because then you just lose the proposal. Otherwise, you get into serious problems when you run the project. Okay, the scores, I think we can skip that. Important is the size. It's specified in the course usually is 70 pages for the first 3 sections. Excellence, impact, and management. 70 pages. The online submission system will not accept longer text, because these first 3 sections you upload as a PDF file. If the PDF file is 71 pages, the submission system says, sorry, I'm not accepting that file. It counts the number of pages, it's easy in a PDF file. So you have to reduce it to 70. In the past, when it was on paper, it was terrible, sometimes 100, 150 pages. The Commission refused to evaluate. But here now it's safe, you cannot make mistakes there. So I think now maybe as a final point, when you download this template, the template is not just the structure I showed you at the beginning, the headlines. It is pretty long, and it explains for each sub-item what the Commission expects. But it says objectives. What objectives? It says, and this is the text from that template, describe the specific objectives for the project, which should be clear, measurable, realistic, achievable within the duration of the project. Objectives should be consistent with the expected exploitation and impact of the project. It's an excellent guideline. You get all this for free. It's all in that template. And so it's a pretty long one, because they explain every sub-item is explained what it means and what you should observe. As it said here, objectives should be consistent with the expected exploitation and impact. It must match. If it doesn't match, I mean, objectives may be good, impact may be good, but you say, well, these are 2 different things. Sorry, the evaluators will say, we can't give you a very high mark on this. And if you don't get a very high mark, always remember, you're out. I remember in the good old school days, you said, okay, if I don't get an excellent mark, so what? Well, I get it somewhere medium, it's fine, I mean, I'll pass. University, okay, I mean, you don't get the best, but you pass, I mean, you get your diploma, fine. Here, if you're not on 15 or 14.5, that's it. You cannot go for a middle way. You cannot say, it's okay if we write a good proposal, isn't it? No, it isn't. The only way is you write the best proposal. And if you feel you can't, don't do it. But like sort of, as I said, at university and school, we're not that good, we're not bad, we just pass. It's not possible here. So take that into account. And I think with that, unless there are more specific questions, we should finish the day. So you got, hopefully, an overview of Horizon 2020, a bit of the background, the philosophy behind why the Commission is doing it, what the main focus is, not only that it's all on innovation, but it's something you should never forget. The 3 main pillars, I didn't touch the little horizontal things, the main ones, and these are the interesting ones. The Marie Curie, which is a popular one. So you got an idea. It's now up to you to dig into it. You know that there are chances. They're difficult, but still. It's worthwhile pursuing. It's not just getting funding, as Alexander said in the morning. Funding is always nice. But just for the funding, it's not worth the effort. It's too much effort involved, too high risk, just to get, if you're lucky, a bit of funding. The main thing is the collaboration with Europe, the international cooperation across borders. That is the thing that has a long-standing impact on your own experience on your own career. And you will find out later on, if you really go into it, it's the most interesting part in the end. It's a collaboration with very different other partners. Despite all the problems you have, and there are always problems of collaboration, but what you learn in terms of cross-culture is sometimes even more valuable than the immediate results of a project. That is the important thing. This is what helped Europe in the 80s, 90s, at least in this section of the society dealing with development, research, and to grow together. In the 80s, beginning of the program, it was seen by many, and also by, I was working in industry in those days, by my boss as something completely exotic. When I came to him and said, look, there's this opportunity, I already have a partner in France and UK, and we can do a project. He said, what? So I explained, look, the Commission is funding, and we can do this. It's in our topic area. I was in the research department. And I have partners. He said, what do you mean by partners? I said, we need partners in other countries. He said, are you crazy? You cannot work with French and English and German in one project. It doesn't work. I said, okay, then we don't get the funding. Who thought of this idea? This was a very common reaction in those days. It was highly unusual. You cannot imagine nowadays that this is unusual. It was. It took many years until it reached the stage, I say already a long time ago, where people said it's quite normal. But what's the problem in working with Spanish, Turkish, Egyptian in my case, Tunisians, Norwegians? We can all work together. We're all different. So what? That's the fun of it. This has helped. And this will help you on your own personal, I think, development level to experience this with different. You change yourself. Sometimes you change your attitudes. You learn, of course, quite a bit on the technical, scientific side. So it is, what I'm about to say, always a good idea to try to get in. And if you're good and if you're lucky, you get in. So, and I hope that this day gave you at least the pointers where to look for, and then dug into it. And if you have questions, until the end of the year, our project is running. We are sitting in Ankara, maybe a bit far away from Erzurum, but we are there full time. So whenever you have a question, send us an email. Thank you very much.